Today on our 2010 Chevrolet Traverse, we'll be installing the Roadmaster EZ Baseplate Kit, part number 523149-1. Now to begin our installation, we'll need to remove the front bumper cover. To do this, we'll remove the 10 plastic fasteners attaching the radiator cover to the core support fascia here on the top. Now on each side of the vehicle, there's one plastic fastener attaching the weather stripping here at the back for the hood to the cover. So we'll need to remove those as well. With that done, we can go ahead and set the cover aside for reinstallation later. We'll now remove the 6 7mm bolts attaching the radiator core to the core support. This will loosen up the upper bumper cover. We'll now move into our fender wells here, where we'll need to remove the 7mm bolt and the 2 Phillips head screws. These are all located on the inside edge of the fender well. We'll need to do that on both sides of the vehicle. Next, we'll go underneath the vehicle and remove these screws here. And with that done, we can now gently pull out on the fascia, where we can then put our arm in to disconnect the fog light and marker lights. We'll do that on both sides of the vehicle. We can then remove our front fascia. It'd be a good idea to get an extra set of hands to help you do this, as to not damage the bumper fascia. Now with the fascia removed, we've exposed our bumper and all our attachment points. We'll begin here on the passenger side, where we'll need to remove the 2 15mm bolts that attach the lower subframe to the lower frame rail here. We'll also do that on the other side of the vehicle. We'll position the passenger side main receiver brace against the bumper core so that the 2 pre-drilled holes in the main receiver brace that we just removed the bolts from will line up. We can then use 2 10mm by 1.5 by 60mm bolts, flat washers, and lock washers to hold our brace in place. Now you'll want to make sure your brace is flush with your bumper support. We'll need to do that on both sides of the vehicle. On the driver's side here, you'll notice there is an ambient temperature sensor on our vehicle. If your vehicle has this sensor, you do need to remove it before installing the driver's bracket. Once the bracket is installed, the attachment point will be covered up, so you can use the plastic zip tie included with the kit to secure your ambient temperature sensor to the bumper core support. While holding our brace in place, we'll draw a line straight out on our bumper core support, indicating where the hole on the back side of the brace would line up on the front of the support. We'll then measure 1 inch down on the bumper support and mark our hole. This will be where we'll drill our 1/2 inch hole for the 1/2 inch by 4 inch bolt. Now we'll use a step drill process to make our 1/2 inch hole. Now you'll want to be careful to not drill too deep, as the condenser for the air conditioning is directly behind the bumper core support. You could even put a piece of plate steel or wood behind the bumper core support to help further protect the condenser. With that done, we'll take our 1/2 inch by 4 inch bolt, a 1/2 inch plate washer, and a 1/2 inch flat washer, as well as a lock washer for the hole we just drilled. We'll put our plate washer on the bolt, run the bolt through the front of the bumper core support and then through the bracket. We can then put our flat washer, lock washer, and nut on the back side. We'll tighten it down just to hold it in place, as we need to drill a few more holes. Now on the bottom side of the bumper core support, you'll notice the bracket has 2 cutouts for bolts. We'll need to drill through the bumper core so that we can install our hardware. These again will be 1/2 inch holes. In this case, the bumper core is split into 2 pieces. We'll need to drill our 1/2 inch hole through the lower side only. We'll use the bracket as a template and drill out our 2 1/2 inch holes. We'll then take our 3/16 by 1.5 inch by 3 inch nutted backing plates and slide them into the bumper, into the space between the two sections. We'll then take our 1/2 inch by 3 inch bolts, our two 1/2 inch lock washers, run them through the bracket as well as the bumper, and screw them into the nutted backing plates on the inside of the bumper core. We can then go ahead and tighten them down to further hold our bracket into place. With those two holes drilled, that leaves us with just one more hole to drill on this side. There are two 15mm head nuts attaching the oil cooler to the subframe here. We'll need to remove those. We can then push the oil cooler up so that the brackets holding the oil cooler sit on top of the studs themselves. You'll then see our bracket where we'll need to drill our hole. This will again be a 1/2 inch hole, and we'll again use the step drill process. With that hole drilled, we'll use our 3/16 by 1/2 inch by 2 inch backing plate with the 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch bolt, as well as a 1/2 inch lock washer and nut. We'll put our bolt through the bracket as well as the hole we just drilled. We can then put the backing plate on with the lock washer and the nut. Now that we have all our hardware in and our bracket is secured, we'll go ahead and remove the hardware and apply some red Loctite to each of the fasteners just for further security. This is recommended by Roadmaster. Now with all our fasteners back in with the red Loctite, we can go ahead and tighten them down and torque them to specification as indicated in the instructions. And with our passenger side bracket on, we can now repeat the same process installing the driver side bracket. We're now ready to test fit our front bumper fascia. Again, using an extra set of hands, we'll fit it into place. Now you'll notice we do need to cut the fascia in order for the tow bar brackets to be accessible. We'll get the fascia in the proper location that it will be, where we can then go ahead and cut out our bumper fascia to allow access to the brackets. We'll also do that on the other side of the vehicle. We can then go ahead and reattach the bumper fascia to the vehicle. We'll start down here on the bottom and work our way up to the engine compartment. And with our vehicle back together, we'll go ahead and show you how it works. Here on the passenger side, we'll slide the arm in and lock it into place. We'll then take our quick link. We can then attach our 8-inch safety cable to the quick link and put it through the large hole on the bracket and lock it down. We'll do the same thing here on the driver's side, which will complete the installation of the Roadmaster EZ Baseplate Kit, part number 523149-1 on our 2010 Chevrolet Traverse.